Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's Time for Coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career triple shot K-Cup with my guest, Elisabeth Rodgers. So I have 2 final Time for Coffee questions. And actually, this next question, I try to ask both of them. I try to ask all my guests, but I think I'm going to change it a bit for you, because I usually ask if you could share a time in your professional life when you struggled. Mm-hmm. But I have to imagine that most of your professional life has been a series of struggles.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess my question should be, how you have persevered throughout your professional life, knowing that it is a series of challenges in order to do what you love doing. And that is being an actor. And as a result, being a journeyman, as you have described it, how you have found a way to build a meaningful life in which you are filling a lot of your days with things that you may not love, but you need to do in order to do what you really love, which is the acting.
Okay. That's a lot. In my recent life, the last few years, there are a lot of struggles. As you said, there have been fairly constant. Just being a freelancer means fairly constant struggle, particularly with the notion of uncertainty, with fear. And I think that being a lifelong freelancer gives you an intimate relationship with fear and uncertainty. And that on some level was deepened and at the same time kind of opened up and changed. Now I'm going to get really personal here. 2.5 years ago, my husband died, and he had been struggling with a number of health issues for the majority of the time that we were together, but for at least a decade. And so I was the breadwinner. So there was a lot of anxiety that sort of surrounded work and having to get work and having to pay. So I quit auditioning for regional theater when he was initially diagnosed, because getting a regional theater job meant I had to go out of town for 2, sometimes 3 months at a time. And I didn't feel that I could do that with him sick. And so I couldn't leave him. And so fortunately, that's when the audiobook work really started to ramp up. It was absolutely just purely serendipitous timing that I was able to really, really dive into the audiobook work. And that's when that really became my focus in my career and my money-making job. And with his death, I don't know, in some ways it's funny because I've actually had so much more work in some ways since he died than I did before he died. And part of it is that I've maybe relaxed a little bit. It's a very difficult balance because you have to put yourself out there. You have to work to get the work, but you also have to trust that the work is going to be there. It's a terrifying thing to look at the calendar and not know what's going to be happening in February. Right now, I'm booked solid through the first week of February, but after that, I've got nothing. And that can be very anxiety-provoking, fear-inducing. And this is true on all levels. Theater, it's true. Everybody I know, they get to an end of a contract or to the end of a book or the end of a job, and the feeling is, I'm never going to work again. I'm never going to work again. And of course, that's not true. But it's very hard to sort of convince your heart and your soul and your fear of that. And So I've been really, really living with and thinking about and becoming very intimate with the idea of being comfortable with uncertainty, which is, it goes very much against our nature, but you're going to get up in the morning and life is going to happen and you don't know what the day is going to bring, but you just have to sort of surrender yourself to trusting that it's going to be okay. And in some ways, I feel as though this journey that I've had with uncertainty, with fear, with anxiety, that in some ways I find myself at a place where I feel like I have an advantage over people who have full-time jobs or got a job out of college and have been working in the same industry 9 to 5, 365 for 30 years. And suddenly either they are facing some sort of uncertainty, like they're going out of business or retirement even, or downsizing or a career change. And it is absolutely immobilizing. And I have so many friends who are in this place of career change, or is it time for me to quit, or what am I going to do next? And I'm 50 something and this is all I know and I don't know where I'm going, that I have an advantage because I just have had to keep bouncing back every time. There's rejection on a daily basis and you just have to stop taking it personally, or I'll take it personally and experience it and go through that and then move on to the next one and trust that you're going to be taken care of and that the work you've created a foundation and it's going to support you. I don't feel as I've expressed that as well as I wanted to, but it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you honest. And I think it keeps you young.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I am so sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
And I have to say, listening to you summarize that, and frankly, I think you did an incredibly eloquent job. I am struck by a number of qualities that you have that are truly the secret sauce, I think, for young people to cultivate. Mm-hmm. And that is grit, mental fortitude, mental strength, mm-hmm. courage, mm-hmm. because that is the pathway to a meaningful life, to have the courage to stand on the edge of the diving board and to jump.
Right. Not having no idea what's
having no idea, like, am I going to belly flop or is the water deep enough that I'm,
but trusting that you're going to have what it takes to not just survive whatever happens at the bottom of the diving board, but that you're going to thrive and grow from and whatever. But the other quality that I would add to your list is empathy, especially as an actor, but I think just as a human being in general, that what gives life to everything that I do is the depth of experience and the depth of imagination and the depth of empathy.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.